All right, guys, welcome back to another Drill More Pickleball podcast. This is episode 4. We are now going on a month of doing this. We've got a really good episode today, but first, I am your host, Braden, and this is my co-host,
Bryant.
We've got some good stuff to talk about today. We're going to cover the Cross Club Pickleball League that you and I are in. We'll go into more details on that. We're going to go into the Greater Zion Cup at Black Desert Resort. That is here in Utah, which is local to us. Next, we'll go into some paddles, which is the Arrownax Paddles that were sent over. Zane Ford just barely signed with them. They're an Asian company, and they're making their way into the U.S. market. So we'll go into that a little bit. And then lastly, we'll finish up with some questions from our audience. And we'll be answering the question why Proton got banned from the PPA and our thoughts on it. So let's get into it. First, let's talk a little bit about the Cross Club Pickleball League. Do you want to let the audience know what exactly it is, and then I can talk a little bit about what happened last week?
Yeah, so there was a company that from back east that came to Utah and wanted to do a pickleball league essentially with multiple facilities. And so we're one of 4 that are in it. So we have like Lehigh Pickler, Bluffdale Pickler, Kelsey Pickleball, and then what was the other one?
And then us, Premier.
Yeah, and then us, Premier.
Oh, so
that's
you got
right.
2 Picklers, Premier Pickleball, and then Kelsey Pickleball. So 4 facilities battling.
Yeah, and we're pretty local. The 3 of us are, and then Kelsey's out in Heber. So it just started this Saturday, and basically we have a season. It's essentially 12 weeks total with like playoffs and everything going down to the final game. So there's going to be a trophy at the end. We all have T-shirts and everything like that. So it's actually like we had tryouts and everything. It's a full thing of best of the best for 4-5, right?
4-0 to 4-5.
4-0 to 4-5. And then you put your best up against MLP style, boom, every week.
Yep. So every single week you'll play a different club.
Yep.
This past week was our very first week, like you said. You play a total of 32 games, and that equals 1 match for the day. So Premier versus Lehigh Pickler. And what you do is half your team are women, half your team are men. And through those 32 games for the day will be split between women's gender, men's gender, and mixed games. And so we had our very first one this week. We had Premier jerseys. They had Pickler jerseys. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
We had 7 men and 7 women. Or no, we had 5 men and 5 women there. They had their 5 men and 5 women there. And there's 8 rounds total per match. And each round consists of 4 different games. So you start off with 4 mixed games, and then the next round you go to 4 gender games, then 4 mixed games, then 4 gender games. That continues until you hit 8 rounds. And it's a best of 32. So
it's long.
super fun. And I'm kind of realizing that there's some strategy behind where you place your players and how you team them up. We ended up playing Lehigh Pickler, like I said, and we ended up losing to them 15 games to 17. So it came down right to the wire. I mean, very even. I will say props to them. Their captain and I got along really well. It was a lot of fun. Almost all of their players, almost all of our players were super competitive, but very friendly towards each other. There were like 2 instances that were kind of fun. I enjoy competitive environments. So I like competition. I like people getting pushed to the edge. I want to see people's emotions when I'm playing. And we got a little bit of that. And that's one reason why I like MLP so much, because this is rally scoring. You get to cheer on your teammates. So like if you finish a game, you're going right next to the next court and you're yelling and screaming and rooting for your team. And some players really like that and it pumps them up. And some players do not like that. And
some funny stories.
I've got a story. This was kind of funny, I thought. And it ended up not being a big deal at all, but in the moment, you could tell that some people were maybe a little bit bothered. So I had finished one of my games in a round, and I went on to cheer on a teammate, our team that was playing against the Pickler team. And I'm rooting on the sideline, and there's a person that's just watching, that's a spectator, that's a part of the Pickler there. And I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm rooting and I'm being loud, and there's a call that I disagreed with, and it was a tight call. We'll give it to them. They probably weren't trying to hook or anything, but it was a tight call. So, I'm talking on the sideline. I'm not necessarily talking to their players, but I'm talking and I'm trying to amp up my team. And this guy on the sideline, he's like, hey, you can't be talking. And of course, me being in a competitive spirit, I start jabbing back at him, and I'm chirping, right? You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to say. So of course I see that he gets bothered by this. And in between him and I is the league commissioner. And you can see that he's a little uncomfortable with confrontation.
Yeah.
But if I smell blood in the water, I'm like a shark. Like I like knowing that someone's emotions have been pricked a little bit.
No, for sure.
And so he tells me I can't talk. I tell him I can't talk. He's like, well, you can't talk to my players at all. I'm like, I'm not talking to your players, but I'm talking loud enough so they can hear me, but I'm talking to my players.
Yeah.
They're sharing the same course. So if I say something and they overhear it, tough luck. But I am speaking to my players, and I was. So I see that he gets bothered. So the very next rally, right, happens. Their guy drives their third ball out long. And of course, now I'm really letting them know, like, great leave, great eyes. That ball was way out, right? And it's annoying. It can be annoying to players. Their players were kind of laughing and having a little bit of fun with it. Yeah. But the guy next to me, you can tell that he was really bugged. And I thought it was funny how people react in different situations. Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't have gotten loud after that, but I know myself. I'm going to get loud every single time. I'm going to get pumped. I want my team to hear me. I want them to feel my presence. That's why I love being a team captain.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I'm like, tough luck. Like, you're just going to have to swallow this one, dude. Like, I'm going to be loud, and you can't tell me I can't be loud. So, tough luck. I'm not going to say anything inappropriate. Yeah. So that was one instance.
Then you got the one with...
Ultimately, they got the final laugh because they beat us. But we're going to come back. We'll get them. It's a fun...
That's what's nice about the league. We get to play them again.
Yeah.
And we'll see them.
And then there was another instance with one of their players. Our player was beating their team pretty good, and he did a speed up, and it was at the guy's chest. The guy moved out of the way, and it went out of bounds, and their player took exception to that. And he started cussing at our player, started calling him names. He's swearing at him. Our player's like, bro, chill. Like, I was trying to hit a shot. Like, I wasn't trying to body you. My speed up was just bad.
Yeah.
So that game progresses a little bit, and then our player does a put away shot. Their player then argues that our player was in the kitchen, which is a really tough call to make.
Yeah.
Our player,
that's way tough.
Almost verbatim said, I know I'm not in the kitchen, but I'll let you make the call if you want. But if you make the call that I was in the kitchen, just know that I know you're wrong. And the guy then lost it. He starts again cussing him out, starts puffing up his chest. They end up losing that specific game. Our team comes off the court, and the guy's still trying to get in our player's face a little bit, to the point where our other player on our team had to kind of get in between them and cool him down a little bit. Again, our player actually didn't get riled up at all, but their player was pretty riled up.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that there was no physical altercation, but I am super happy to hear that people care enough to, like, get worked up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about, like, sports and being competitive. I like people caring about the result. Yeah. And that's why I like this league. But I just thought it was funny, like, okay, now we got a little bit of beef. I mean, it's not real beef, but we're going to use it as motivation.
You'll see us on Twitter. No,
yeah, exactly. But that was super fun. So this next week, we are going to Kelsey Pickleball over in Heber. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive, depending on traffic.
Should be pretty good.
It'll be really fun. I don't know anyone over there just because they're too far away from us. But we'll kind of give you guys weekly updates on how the Cross Club Pickleball League goes. Like Bryant said, it's a 12-week thing. We do 8 weeks of season league, and then the last 4 weeks are going to be the playoffs, and then you get an opportunity to earn like a huge trophy. So we're going to refine our team.
You'll see it here.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have it right there as well. But that's the Cross Club Pickleball League. Let's move on now to talk about the Greater Zion Cup at Black Desert Resort.
Yeah, and, crazy games.
Well, beyond the games, let's talk a little bit about the venue.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The venue they chose one of the most awesome places. I don't know if most of you guys are probably local to who we're talking to. So if you've been down in Ivins, you already know it's beautiful with the Red Rock. But I mean, these courts just look awesome. Like, and then championship court, they got that bowl. They got it completely surrounded so you can have just great entertainment there. There's tons of fans there. It's good seating. The courts, I like how they did the colors. It's untraditional from like what we usually see, but with the background, it's just amazing.
It's the court color is very fitting for Southern Utah's colorway. We've got a lot of red rock there. Yeah. We've got black lava rock there too. And they, right next to it, they've got like dug out of the black lava rock, a really nice like PGA stop pro golf course. And so you've got this amazing, beautiful, huge red mountain, and then you've got all this black lava rock, and then dug right into the middle of that is now this new PPA stop, and it looks, in my opinion, seriously, maybe the best looking backdrop of a PPA tournament or PPA stop in professional pickleball.
For sure, I hope they keep. I hope they keep this up for a long time. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go this year. Hopefully next year we get to go do that tournament, but it looks sick. And then you got the whole venue of it. The Black Desert Resort is, it's got spa, it's got the golf, it's got more than pickleball. It's essentially kind of like your lifetime.
Yeah,
you got everything all in one. Really, it's probably mad expensive, but it's beautiful.
And then you've got like national parks right near it. Yep. I know a lot of the players were doing Zions. I saw that on one of the days. Anna Bright went by herself solo, and she went and did the Narrows. I know that Dave Fleming, the announcer, went and I think he did Angel's Landing.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of things for outside people to do, and Southern Utah is beautiful. And then it was hot, and so you didn't have a lot of wind with this tournament. There was a little bit of wind on some of the days, but nothing bad. But let's talk a little bit about how the players did. We had some upsets kind of early on.
Big upsets.
You're no longer seeing, what's interesting, the last couple tournaments, you're not really seeing Georgia and Tyra make it super far in women's anymore.
Well, and then you're not seeing the Johnsons making it. They haven't made it to a final Sunday in all of 2026.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's been this whole year they haven't even made it there. And it's like so shocking to me. I mean, today I think they took bronze because they played Fahey and Fed.
Okay.
And they took bronze, but I'm so surprised. And same thing with the women. So it was funny because Dave Fleming was talking about it. And, I didn't even think about this, but, she also got dropped from, what was it? The Dallas Flash or whatever they're called. And he was even talking. He's like, but you got to think like how much mental strain that puts on you. She's 19, so she might not be, and I'm not saying this in any sense of the form that she's not like emotionally mature, but like for a 19-year-old, like if I put myself in her shoes, like we were both very competitive. And if I was doing the same thing as her, like I would be mad distraught. It puts a lot on your head, and it's like, okay, am I not playing good enough? Why haven't I been picked up by?
I can maybe see that as someone that maybe needs to be a little bit more empathetic at times.
Yeah.
My thought is, you get dropped by the Dallas Flash. You know that one of the 3 great players are going to be dropped, so it's not going to be based off of skill.
Yeah.
And then you get picked up by the Fives. Like, how you're traveling to the same venues with your family still. Yes, maybe you're not on the same team, but you're playing with Annalie Waters.
Yeah.
You're playing for an organization, the Fives, that are going to take care of you really well. Yeah.
She'll love it.
So I don't know about Dave Fleming's take right there.
Yeah,
like,
we'll see.
I think that it maybe that does play into like the mental side of things. Yeah. But I think like you're still going. You're seeing everyone there. You're going to be playing with Annalie. Maybe you've got to, on the outside, be like, oh, man, I'm sad that I'm not playing with the Flash anymore. You've got to be happy that Annalie's your now women's partner.
It's an automatic W for them.
Yeah.
And for me, I kind of think of it as like when Ben left. He was with North Carolina, then went to, what was it?
LA
Mad Drops. I know he obviously, at that time, he had already kind of stopped playing with Colin. But like, I don't know. It is like it would suck playing on a team with you, and then all of a sudden I get dropped, and it's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But then if I got Ben Johns or something as my partner, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not that sad anymore.
Exactly. So I guess I do understand it from that standpoint because I do enjoy tournaments with you quite a bit. So
it's very different.
Playing with your brother and your I'm assuming Tyra's like her best friend.
Yeah.
And then maybe not having that like blanket, right? Maybe does affect you a little bit. But I still have to think that playing with Annalie has to trump some of those feelings.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, and then it might be like, even like with Gabe, maybe she's getting nervous. I would get nervous if all of a sudden, like going with Gabe and then also like being Gabe and all of a sudden you're playing with Ben Johns, that first like couple tournaments, they're like, man, he's not playing as good. And everyone's like, did he choose right? Did he choose right? And now they haven't lost in all of 2026. Yeah. They've solidified that they're great, that they're better than everyone else right now.
Also, what was interesting before we get too deep into the pro side, we had a lot of local players do the qualifiers.
Yep.
Pretty cool. There were kind of two players that I followed through the qualifiers. That one is a guy that I've seen now played a couple local tournaments, John Thorne.
Yeah.
He went and did, I think he did mixed. I didn't really watch any of his mixed, but I did watch some of his singles. And I tuned in for, I don't know if this was main draw. It had to have been because he was playing Caden Nemeth, who I think is a signed pro, right?
Yeah.
And I think all signed pros are through the qualifiers.
I'm pretty sure it would be already through the qualifiers, so he would have to.
Maybe first round, whatever that is, like round of 64 or something. But he's playing Caden Nemeth, and I was watching. And when I first turned it on, John Thorne was up 6-3, I believe, in game one. So I'm like,
dang.
Oh, wow, this is really good because John Thorne's a great local player, but I don't think that he's had like any national recognition.
Yeah.
And watching him play locally, you're like, man, he's so much better than me. But then you go and watch him play some of these other players, and you're like, man, there's levels to this. But so he gets up 6-3. I tune in. Caden Nemeth calls a timeout. He goes over to a guy on his sideline, and you can see them talking. Caden Nemeth comes out of the timeout. He stops John Thorne and then proceeds to win the match 11-6. So, or wins the game 11-6.
So whatever that guy said just fired him up.
Yep. And I will say after that timeout, it seemed like John missed a couple returns game one. And then in game two, I think he missed like 4 or 5 returns. So that's 4 or 5 points that Caden Nemeth really didn't have to work through. And you just can't do that once you get to that level of play. So that was unfortunate. It was cool to see him play someone that like I know on like the national level, Caden Nemeth, even though he's like a lower level pro, right? He's not
still really
a Ben or a Gabe, but super props to him. It was fun to watch him. And then another player that I followed that was local is a girl named Maddie Rasmussen. I actually don't know her personally, but she's from Utah. And so anyone that's from Utah, I love rooting for. She, interesting enough, I didn't get to watch a lot of her matches, but I tried to keep up with the scores.
Yeah.
So she played mixed with Andrew Calderera, or I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's also a Utah local boy. He's a teenager. And they made it through qualifiers. I think they did qualifiers. I'm not sure because I think Andrew's now a signed PPA player. I think so for juniors. But they ran into JW in Georgia.
That's a hard team to beat.
And I think they got 5 and 6 on them.
Wow.
So really impressive.
That's impressive. Even though they didn't come out with a win, that's pretty impressive.
That's really impressive. And
Top
then
team.
in women's, she played with Ella Boydston, who's another Utah local player. And I don't really know Ella as well. I don't think I've ever met her, but I just know that she's local to Utah. And Maddie plays left in that partnership, and Ella plays right. And Maddie ended up rolling her ankle like really bad. And I guess she, so I follow her on Instagram, and she made a post, and I guess she's had like 1 or 2 surgeries already on that ankle in the past, and maybe there's pins in there. I can't remember exactly everything, but she rolls it. They end up winning that match, so they move on and they get into the main draw. And the first team that they have to play, Georgia Johnson again and Tyra Black.
Oh my gosh.
And Georgia and Tyra end up winning. But how cool is that some of our local players get to go and rub shoulders with these pros? Like, especially for like Maddie to go and play Georgia and JW and then also play Georgia and Tyra. It's like you're playing like top level
highest
talent.
level.
So you get to actually compare yourself to how far away am I from reaching my goal.
Yeah.
And you get like a realistic expectation of this is how close I am and this is how much more I need to go.
For sure,
so that was really cool to see all that stuff. So congratulations to all the local players that went and did like local qualifiers. I think
like Mario Barrientos.
Yep.
He went. And then there was a couple others, like Steve went, bunch of others. They're more amateur.
Yeah, they played amateur. Mario didn't. Steve did. And then I saw that Anthony Scalabrin, or I can't remember his last name, he ended up winning the Moneyball out there, the PPA Moneyball. So I don't know how much money that was.
That's pretty sick.
Pretty cool to see some of our local players go and get some W's against some of like the big dogs, right?
I wish I think that's the hardest thing with people, like you were saying, like realizing how far they have to go. I wish they had more tournaments local to us, because I think we only have this one, and then Vegas is the next closest one to us. And then other than that, you're either going to Texas or you're going somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wish they got more tournaments near us, because I think you would see a lot more locals starting to push. It's just mad expensive to get out there.
Yep, it is. Let's fast forward to Championship Sunday. This was impressive to me. This I wanted to make note of. So we saw last tournament or 2 tournaments ago, Paris Todd and Alex Trong make it into the championship for women's doubles. And then again, you see Paris Todd come in with Kate Fahey today in women's doubles. And I was thinking, how impressive is it? So that was Alex Trong's first championship women's doubles in the U.S. And then Paris Todd's obviously been there before. Yeah. And then today it was Kate Fahey's first women's doubles championship.
Hopping from a different teammate and making it to the finals.
For Paris Todd to bring 2 different teammates into it is very impressive. We already know how that story goes, though. When you play Anna Lee and Anna Bright,
they're just too dominant.
So, but props. I wanted to shout out Paris Todd for 2 different partnerships and making it all the way to Championship Sunday. I thought that was really cool.
Which I'm wondering if we'll see more of her and Kate Fahey, or if she's going to solidify a partnership. I think when you solidify a partnership, you kind of, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Everyone who solidifies goes further consistently towards the end. So I wish it'd be cool. I think they played very, very well. And then, like you just said, they just played a dominant team. But I think they could in the future, if they hone down their skills, I think they could be more of a competitor towards it.
And Kate Fahey's done a great job at improving. But part of me wonders, and especially on the women's field, it's not as deep as the men's. And so you have some established women's team. So everyone knows how everyone plays. And I wonder if part of this recent success that Paris is experiencing, beyond her just being a really good player, is that they've got a different dynamic as a team that people haven't seen before. And so they can come in and take 2 games or 3 games from people because no one's seen their play style together for a long time. So she's able to mix things up a little bit. So that's kind of interesting to think about as well.
Well, and then shout out to Kate Fahey. She made it for all 3 as well.
Oh, really? Oh, well, for bronze.
Well, for bronze.
Yeah,
I mean, she made it to Sunday, though.
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
Really cool. She's really on. I mean, she's an athlete.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Kate Fahey, the women's
singles was crazy.
Wow. So I wasn't watching. I turned it on, and Kate Fahey is up 8-0 to Annalee Waters.
Crazy.
I'm like, game 1, 8-0. I'm like, oh, man.
Well, and by 8-0, Annalee had already used both of her timeouts, and everyone's like, what the heck is going on? Everyone's cheering for Annalee. Next thing you know, it's 9-0, 10-0. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's about to get pickled. And then if anyone doesn't know, Annalee hasn't lost a finals. This is what they said.
Hasn't lost a singles game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's finals or singles, but they said she hadn't lost since 2022. Like, that is absolutely crazy.
Well,
I think that was finals.
That can't be right, because
that's what they said.
Paris Todd beat her.
Oh, that's right.
And Tyra Black.
Okay, they were wrong then, because that's what they said.
But it's been over 600
days since she had lost
a match.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. So to be at 10-0 is insane. Kate Fahey now for game point serves. She pushes Annalee all the way to Annalee's left, and then Annalee returns cross court. So Kate Fahey comes up to take the cross court shot, and she's got a wide open lane for a winner to pickle Annalee Waters. And what does Kate Fahey decide to do? She hits the ball directly back to Annalee Waters. Annalee Waters ends up stopping the point, so side out. Now it's 0-10. And then Annalee Waters proceeds to score the next 8 points. Then Kate Fahey finishes it, wins that first game 11-8. But now momentum's completely switched.
Yeah, you can't give her momentum.
And then Annalee Waters does what Annalee Waters does, and she wins the next 2 fairly handedly.
Yeah.
So props to Kate for getting that first game. But that just reminds me, like, if you want to take something from Annalee Waters, you have to earn it.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot take anything for granted. I think if she would have got that pickle point, things maybe could have switched, but allowing her to get momentum back in game 1 and then bring it into game 2 and then carry it into game 3 is something you cannot do against the GOAT.
Annalee's the type of player that if her fire's on, you got to douse it a freaking fire hose or whatever you can, because like you said, I mean, it was just so crazy watching her and like Ben and Gabe even and her and Anna Bright even, just their mentality when they go from a very low game like that into the next 2 games or 3 games or whatever it is, depending on what they're playing. It's so crazy to see their minds, like how they can just, I'm not losing this anymore, and she just takes over, and it's crazy. Like they were talking about it on different mindsets. Like Leah Jansen almost took a game from her as well, or like Leah Jansen played very well against her, Kate Fahey, but like the mindset, like we talked about with our Frankenstein, her mindset is just so crazy. Like I genuinely don't know if there's anyone on the tour that is close to her mindset.
She learned to win at such a young age, and Leah Jansen talked about this past week, but Annalie learned to win at such a young age over any other competitor that it just carries on to everything she does now in life.
Yeah.
And you see it week in and week out. She's triple crowning, and spoiler alert, Annalie Waters triple crowns again. And let you know what the next tournament is. Annalie Waters triple crowns again.
Yeah.
And I can just say that like pretty confidently, like with a 90% certainty. The one uncertainty might be mixed, but in mixed, she's still playing with Ben Johns, and you have to have Hayden playing at his absolute peak for them to be able to have a chance. And if he's not, they're not winning.
Yeah, she's just so dominant in the field right now. And that's why I think it's cool that they're about to go to like Vietnam and whatever, because I wonder, like, I don't know very many Asian players. I don't know if it's like who's just amazing there, like who's the top guy there, because I imagine it's different than, you know, obviously here, because I don't know any names. But I wonder if like once they start opening up Asia and other countries, like are we going to start seeing more competitors? Because I mean, we do. It's not that they haven't opened it up or anything, because they've tried to go to different places, Australia and stuff like that. But I'm talking like once they start going to these actual countries, are you going to start seeing players in that country start to challenge some of these people? Because we're kind of just seeing who's come to America, who's playing, who gets signed. I just want to know if there's like competition out there, because it seems like right now Annalie's just wiping the floor every single week with the girls' side at least.
Yeah.
And even on, I mean, her partner Anna Bright, it's just they're just too insane. They're so dominant. So I just wonder if there's like someone that's gonna start eventually pushing Annalie. When do we see that? Is that for another 2 years? Is that a year? Like it's crazy.
I don't know. I think Annalie is going to be the player that plays. What is she right now? She's 19. I think she plays maybe until she's like 26, 27. And I don't think you're really going to see Annalie much beyond her dominant period.
Yeah.
Right? So I think once...
Kind of like we said with Ben.
Yep.
It's just a graceful leave.
You'll see him kind of duck out a little bit. And maybe I'm wrong with that, because Annalie does have a different mindset than Ben.
Yeah.
She's a dog, man. But
yeah,
who knows? Let's switch gears a little bit now and go into mixed.
Crazy Sunday.
Ben and Annalie end up winning over Anna Bright and Hayden in 3 games.
Yeah.
But the third game got interesting, and it ended up going into overtime.
Yep.
Ben and Annalie end up winning 15 to 13. But they were getting crushed. No, Anna Bright and Hayden were getting crushed. And then they come back, and you see the whole crowd switch. And
they were losing 10-1.
Yeah. And then you see them get momentum back, and you see Ben get pushed. You see Annalie get pushed. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you want to take something from Annalie Waters, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
And you might have got that one win, and people are like, this is the new rivalry. Dave Fleming kind of highlighted this a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you really call it that if you've won 1 now out of the last 8 matches?
Yeah. And some of the games aren't even close.
Yeah.
They had that one where they won, and that's probably the best I've ever seen Hayden play. And like you said, Hayden has to be at his best. Anna Bright has to be at her best, because it's just their level is so insane. You got Ben's consistency. You got their defense. They're just insane. The players are hitting it as hard as they can. They're having to angle. Ben's still getting there. We're starting to see, now that the game's getting more aggressive for them, you're seeing more athletic Ben. You're seeing switches. You're seeing midpoint switches.
I know.
Like, and it's just insane. Their chemistry is so unmatched. Like, I would have thought, like I said, it was surprising that Georgia and her brother aren't in the finals anymore, because we're used to seeing that all through 2024. And you would think that they have the chemistry to do something similar, but it's just, we can't find a team that can consistently push them week in, week out. And it's, when do we get to that point as well with those guys? Because holy cow, they are just blowing teams out of the water.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and I don't foresee that changing, if I'm being honest. I think everyone overreacted when Ben and Anna Bright, or when Hayden and Anna Bright won. Yeah. I thought that was a great win. They totally earned it.
Oh yeah.
But you're not going to earn it consistently against Ben and Annalie Waters. I just think that they're too good.
Yeah, like my tournament mindset is, right, like especially at the amateur level, usually who wins, it's whoever's the best that day. Ben and Annalie are always the best every day. But to beat them, you have to be your absolute best in every single moment of the game, because their mindsets are just so insane. Like watching Ben literally get zero phase from losing a game is just mind blowing to me. And him and Gabe have lost some pretty hard games, and you don't see it much with him and Annalie, but it's so crazy that he just goes in the next game, like I talked about earlier, and he just, all right, well, I'm going to play like I've just been playing before. I'm going to keep doing my jobs and my backhand flicks, and let's just wreck.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think during that game, when things got tight in the end of game 3, is when I've seen Ben miss the most thirds I've ever seen him miss.
He missed a ton.
Got tight a little bit, but he still figured it out, and he was able to pull it out. Which then brings us into our men's finals, which was Christian and Hayden versus Ben and Gabe.
Yep.
And it went to 5. Yep. Spoiler alert. And in games 2 and 3, I thought Christian and Hayden were going to end up pulling it off, because they won like 11-3, 11-3.
Yep.
Gabe looked frustrated. Ben looked frustrated. Mm-hmm. Christian and Hayden seemed like they had the right attacks.
Yep.
Especially Christian seemed like his speed ups were really working. His off pace, his speed ups right at Ben. Pop up, and Hayden would come in and finish it. So I thought Christian was kind of the X factor in those first 4. Mm-hmm. And then in game 5, it goes to show that history repeats itself. If you ever let Annalie and Ben get to a game 5, they're going to take it from you. Yeah. You can't ever let it get to a game 5. They are so calm, cool, collected. They've been there 13,000 times. Yeah. They're going to take it in game 5, because they're not the same nervous like you are.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you got Gabe too. Look at Gabe. Gabe goes and plays with Diescu, and they go and win. Gabe's a really good player. At the very beginning, we heard it a ton at the beginning of their relationship. Gabe struggles with this. Gabe struggles with that. I don't see anything with it, honestly. Like, Gabe might have a bad game or two, but still playing with Ben, as calm as he is, I think it's such reassurance as a player. Like, when I'm playing with you and like I'm doing extremely bad and you're calm, I start to play a lot better, because it's like, okay, maybe I'm not playing as bad as I'm really thinking. And it's like, they're very fluid on the court together. And like you said, game 5, Ben's always going to take it regardless who he's with.
Yeah.
It's just, he's so good. He's so good. But I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, they actually might lose this week. And again, that would have been their first time losing in 2026.
And Gabe hasn't lost at all. I mean, he's won every single time.
Yeah, he's high up.
Yeah, he's in the point difference.
Right now. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think with the men's, we'll start to see them getting pushed more, but I don't think there's going to be a team like kind of like what we're talking about with mix, where they're getting consistently beaten, because it's the same thing. You have to be your absolute best in every moment, because they're just so good.
Yeah.
Gabe is such a strong player for Ben, and their dynamic is just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're seeing more. And I think by the end of this year, it's like, all right, everyone shut up. Gabe is really, really good. Like, you guys got to stop saying he's not.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Let's switch gears now a little bit and move away from pro pickleball and move into paddles.
Yeah.
I guess still in the same vein as pro pickleball, Arrownax is a company that is out of Asia, and they have now entered like the pro scene in the US, and they have just recently signed Zane Ford, So they're getting into the PPA a little bit. They reached out and they sent me out their paddles. They sent me out the shoes that they make as well. But we'll just touch on the paddles for tonight. This is their KVL 004. I have the 2 colorways. It's just Aramid, which is the Kevlar, right? 2 different colorways of that one. And then you have their Thunder 10, which is just the carbon fiber. And they are all fully foam paddles. They are floating foam core paddles. This one is just a normal floating foam core paddle. It's pretty stiff. It feels a little bit hollow. And then these 2 are floating foam as well, but they have 3 cutouts right in the middle with a different type of foam in the middle, which makes them feel a little bit different than this. And I would say out of the 3, now let me preference this. They're all 16 millimeter. They all play really well, actually. When I first hit them, I was thinking, okay, there's not a huge difference between these and other full foam core paddles out there on the market right now. Like, what makes them feel different? But the more that I hit them, the more that I started to enjoy them. And they are...
If you can't hear this, it's literally taking, like, skin off. Like,
yeah, listen with just this. These... Props to
even
them.
with him playing with it.
Props to them for figuring out how to get this to pass, because these are gritty. They bite that ball when you're hitting with it. They are powerful paddles. All my opponents that I played with this week all thought that the ball came off hot when I was driving at them. Flicks up in the kitchen all had a lot of power. I would say that these are going to be very well performing paddles. Are they going to be boomstick? No, that boomstick's in a different category. But these are going to be good paddles. Now, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember the pricing. But if they're super expensive, that's going to be really tough, because that's a competitive paddle market to get into in the US. But they've, interestingly enough, so this one, I ended up putting weights down at the corners. But the 2 KVL 004s have their own MOI weight system, kind of like the boomstick. And so they come self-weighted already. I didn't struggle at all with the sweet spot. I never really had any dead balls. But if you're someone that likes dense, not dense, someone that likes stiff, kind of hollow feeling paddles, these are great. They end up giving you a lot more feedback than what I'm used to. And by the time of I finished my playing sessions, I actually really appreciated the feedback that I would get. I've been playing a lot with the Carbon Barrage. I've been playing a lot with the new Vulcan paddles, and these give you more feedback than any of those do. And so you can really feel it as you're like striking the ball. And again, I never felt like, if I missed a ball, I never felt like it was the paddle. It was just always a miss hit on my end. So
your drops last night were amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you were getting a ton of tops. I mean, that is just crazy.
Yeah, they did a good job. I will say, if I had to be picky with it, I don't like the soft pallets in the handles. I just don't like being able to squeeze it like that.
Yeah.
And so I would change that if I were them. The handle length is great. I use a 2-hand backhand, no problem there. But like I said, if I was getting nitpicky, it would be the soft pallets in the handle I would change. But the paddles all performed really well. I'll be releasing on Wednesday my full thoughts on each of these paddles and who I think they're for. So keep an eye out for that. But Arrownax did a good job with these. I mean, it's tough to make a bad paddle nowadays.
Yeah.
What really can make it or break it for you is the value now. So I'll have to look up how much these are, because off the top of my head I can't remember. But if they're 333 like a boomstick, I would say not worth it.
Yeah.
But if they're below that, then they can become a very competitive paddle in a very competitive market.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. Let's put them right back here. Now let's go into, let's see. Let's go into some questions from our audience. So I put a poll out there on Instagram, and I just asked people if they had any questions for the pod this week. So I'll ask you some questions. I'll weigh my thoughts in on some of these as well. Yeah. But first question is from Randy Pickleball, actually. So shout out to Randy.
Let's go, Randy.
Thoughts on Proton getting dumped by the PPA?
So this is big. I actually didn't know much about it until Zane Navratil dropped a huge bomb of a video, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" It was blowing up my Instagram.
Yeah.
So then I was like, "What the heck is going on?" Recently, I haven't seen very much Proton players, pros, or even players here in Utah. There's not very many people that play it with him here. So I was extremely shocked to hear, like, I wouldn't have thought that I was thinking more they were getting banned because of grit or too powerful, but then like figuring out it's more of like financially they're not paying contracts off and stuff like that. I was like, dang, so they're having like a whole thing. This isn't just, hey, it's Poppy, Gen 3 YOLAs type thing. They got this whole problem with the PPA and players. And so that's kind of interesting. And even Zane said something about, like, if you watch this video, he's like, it could affect potentially the amateur level even. And so this is a huge dump for Proton. I don't know how you recover from that.
Well, it sounds like they're not going to recover from
Yeah.
it. They were forced into some type of bankruptcy filing last
7 or something
last
like
year. Sounds like they owe the UPA some money for paddle certifications and marketing. It sounds like there's multiple pros that were signed by Proton that haven't been paid fully. You saw Andre Deescu leave, and I'm sure that's got to be part of the reason why he left Proton. Some other notable Proton players is Megan Dazan. I think the Alex Walker and Angie Walker, I think, played for Proton. But you'll see, so you've seen in the pro game that they've been banned. And now when they say the amateur game, they're talking specifically PPA tournaments. And I'll guarantee, just like what Zane said, what that means is they're going to get banned from all events UPA related.
Yeah.
My thoughts are, you can't be sketchy. Like, if you make a deal with someone, you've got to pay them. And I don't know what their money looks like, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in any of those discussions, nor am I aware of it. But you can't leave people out to dry. And if you're in a bad situation, you've got to remedy that and rectify it somehow. And you've got to openly communicate. And so what sounds like what happened is they, in my opinion, they stopped communicating. They stopped paying. They kind of went silent a little bit. And then UPA probably came knocking because they probably had players complaining. And Proton didn't give them a satisfactory answer. And so they said there's going to be consequences probably by this date, X date. And Proton probably didn't meet, the requirements. And so now they're getting banned. So my thoughts are, don't be sketchy. Do honest business. And people can feel that. And now that people know that, like for me, for example, I've never really played with Proton ever as a main for sure. But I've hit their paddles. But now knowing this, even if they were to somehow survive this, I'm not going to go and support a company that is, in my opinion, doing bad business.
Well, and my thing is let's just say you recently bought one or had recently bought one in the last 6 months till now. Do you go back and, because it's potentially getting banned from all this stuff, and let's say you don't like the bad business they're doing, do you go and try to get a refund? Is that even possible since they're going for bankruptcy? What do you do now? You're kind of screwed. Yeah.
Here's some news for you. If the pros aren't getting paid and UPA is not
getting anything.
You're not getting a refund for trying to get your paddle returned. But good question, Randy. I really didn't have a ton of thoughts on Proton before this week. After this week, they're kind of in a negative spot for me. And I don't think I would support a company that does that unless, they show years of consistency of doing the right thing from this point on, which from my standpoint currently doesn't sound like that's something that they're going to be doing. So good question. Next question is, what should a brand new player buy first? A good paddle or good shoes? Which one's more important?
I think for me, it's paddle. The shoes, you can almost wear anything, especially brand new. You're probably not doing crazy amount of tournaments and stuff like that. You're probably playing more drill sessions or playing with a buddy. But for me, a paddle's been huge. I mean, I started with the 005, hated it after, a certain amount of time. I mean, then we spent like 200 something on it. But then you got me on, what was my next one? The double black diamond. change, massive change. I felt like I could hit way more shots. I was way more consistent. Shoes is a big thing because obviously you're on your feet, but for me, it's paddle. It has to be.
So I'm going to disagree with you on this one, actually.
Really?
And part of the reason why is I've maybe have a little bit of recency bias on this because so paddle definitely can help improve your game, but me specifically, where I've had injuries in the past, I think being able to stay and play on the court longer is going to be more beneficial to your game than maybe having a paddle that you can't use all of its potential. And why I say recency biased is I was in a league recently, and I'm going to bring up Randy again. Randy, for one of the days of the league, ended up playing with the very first paddle he ever owned, like a fiberglass paddle, no grit, nothing. And I barely squeaked by a win against him with that paddle. And so I don't think to play your best, you have to have top power, top spin, top pop, biggest sweet spot. I think if you get down the right mechanics, you can perform well with any paddle. We saw it with the pros with their wooden paddles. But I think not rolling your ankle, right? If you're a competitive player and you're moving, not rolling your ankle, having the right traction on the court, all that. So basically, in my opinion, it's health benefit or performance benefit. And I think you got to prioritize health benefit in my mind. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer, but for me specifically, that's probably what I would have to prioritize.
See, I feel like I'm so different because it's like when I play singles, like I got my fetching dad bod and I'm not like when I play you or Jeremiah and you guys get me running, for me, it's 1000% paddle because I just have to angle you guys. And I can't do that with every paddle.
Now,
but that's just me. That's just me. Again, we're very
that's me
different.
trying to think with my smart brain, right?
Yeah.
If I have the choice to start over again and I have $200 in my pocket and I can buy a brand new paddle or brand new shoes, I'm probably still tempted to buy that paddle.
Yeah.
But I do think that people undervalue the right shoe equipment. And I think that it is actually really important, more than people realize.
Yeah. No, like shoes for me has been huge. It's definitely helped, but yeah, I don't know. I think people also that are getting into the sport or kind of been playing the sport, and then it's just like, let me buy the best paddle, and everyone hears Selkirk, and you go and buy a boomstick. Please don't go buy a freaking boomstick if it's your first paddle.
Yeah.
Like that bothers me so bad when new players do that. I was one of those new players. I bought a Selkirk, but now I think at the time it wasn't as bad as it was because they weren't as popular.
Not the same power.
But I think that if you just go out and buy the biggest power paddle and you suck with it, you deserve that because you didn't do your research.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a all court paddle. Do something like a hybrid or even do a wide body. But like going straight to power paddle for me is
it's
crazy.
dangerous.
Yeah,
it becomes dangerous.
So yeah, we kind of agreed to disagree on that.
Okay. Again, there's probably not a right or wrong answer. But okay, last question from someone, and I don't know who this person is, but obviously they've probably been watching some of my content recently, and that's probably what provoked this question, is what's your take on the Nasty Nelson serve? Is it fair game or bad etiquette?
So I kind of have two takes about this because I'll go with, we'll talk about Nasty Nelson, then we'll talk about body bags. First, I'll just go over body bags. You had it in today's game. If you watched any of the men's doubles game today, there was hardly any dinking. It was all speed ups, and it was all, Hayden Patrick's a big body bagger, big, whatever. For me, it all depends on your mindset. I don't honestly mind getting body bagged. It doesn't bother me when I play against you and some other people. I always get a Nasty Nelson. I expect it one of the times throughout the night. That doesn't bother me. If it's in a tournament, it's a little bit different depending on where it's at. Anything from one of the first 1 to 4 points, I don't care what happens in the 1 to 4 points. It would not mindset affect me. But if I'm getting Nasty Nelson on the last point and it's like 10-11 or whatever it is, and I lose that, I'd be frustrated. But I think mainly you got it from the Nick Kyrgios. I would imagine this is where this question stemmed from. For people that didn't have any context, this was an exhibition match. It was fun. It was not a serious take at all. If you're getting Nasty Nielsen, it hits you in the face, that's a different story. If I'm getting Nasty Nielsen, it hits me in the body, cry about it. It's not that hard of a ball. It is really not. And then same thing with body bags. If I'm getting hit in the chest, most of the time it's just because I wasn't fast enough. But if I'm getting hit up in the face, that's where I start to get annoyed. I think those two categories kind of go back to back. But I think if it's play it how you feel. If you're playing with a good group of people and it's just your friend, it's honestly not that big of a deal. If you're playing with someone and it's like, all right, this guy's a douchebag, sure, why not throw one at the guy? But I think it kind of just depends on you and who you're playing with. But I honestly, in my personal opinion, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I played a tournament and I got body bagged like the second point.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, who cares? Like it sucks. Like you can't do anything about it.
So I'm going to make this extremely clear. What's my take? So what's my take on the Nasty Nielsen serve, fair game or bad etiquette? If you are too slow to get out of the way of my Nasty Nielsen, it is your fault. It is completely fair game. It is within the rules. I will Nasty Nielsen Nick Kyrgios. I will Nasty Nielsen my brother. I will Nasty Nielsen you if you cannot get out of the way of my Nasty Nielsen. It is within the rules. Yeah. My goal is not to hit. My goal is not to hurt someone. Yeah. And if you don't move or anticipate it, then that is your fault. Yeah. I am not trying to be malicious. I am trying to earn a point. And it is a strategy that I can do. And if it upsets you and you then play worse the rest of the game, guess what? You have a weak mental game. Yeah. And it is fair play. So whoever this was, if you thought you were going to get a little cool take, this is a hot take. It is fair play. It is not bad etiquette. And if you think it's bad etiquette, and I play a game with you, you best believe I'm going to go for that Nasty Nielsen. And if you get upset, I'm going to go for it again. And if you get even more mad, guess what's coming the third time? Another Nasty Nielsen. So bad etiquette? Absolutely not. Totally fair play. I'm going for bags. I am going for Nasty Nielsens. Again, I will never try to hurt a player. I will never try to go above nipples. I will never try to, that's just not who I am. That's not my goal. My goal is to always get a point and win. And if I think that can give me an advantage in a game, you better believe I'm utilizing that in my toolbox.
Shout out Dad. He knows what I mean. So no, I definitely think people overplay it way too much, right? It is part of the sport. And like I was saying, even like we all know Hayden, like they made that rule with body bagging and stuff. That's Hayden. You expect it. It's part of the game. I think it's different when you're playing someone with a fetching boomstick and they're launching every single ball. You know, you always play a banger. It happens throughout any time you play a round robin, anytime you go play a tournament, anytime you go play pickup, you're always going to play a banger. It's the same thing for me with the Nasty Nielsen. Most people that are just banging, 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 it's not too bad. You can hit balls back, but it's the players at the kitchen when you're barely hitting a thing and they're rocketing something to you. That's where it's like, all right, you suck. Like, hit a decent shot. It's the same thing with Nasty Nielsen. Like you said, most of the time when I get hit with the Nasty Nielsen from you or someone else, it's literally because I always zone out before every play. Like, whenever I'm playing a tournament, I'm always watching. Like, I always zone out. So when I do get hit, I don't really care because it's like, it's 1 point. Yeah. Like, if you get that upset about 1 point, like you were saying, you gotta fix something with yourself because it's honestly not the end of your life. You can go win more points. Like I said, if you lose on a game like that, now we might lose a game, someone might come hit us. Whatever, you do you. I don't really care. I'm not gonna hold a grudge. Yeah. It is what it is.
So that's my take and your take. Again, context does matter. Yeah. If the purpose of your body bag is to hurt the other player,
that's different, very different.
That is inappropriate, I think. Yeah. If the context of your body bag is because you're trying to earn the point and you're trying to keep it, in their torso region, I think that's completely fine, right? Yeah. So context matters, but that's my take on it. Like it or hate it, tough luck. I'm going to continue to play the way I play.
Any pros if you play him? Nasty Nielsen him, please.
I'll welcome it. And
I just think it's funny. It's really not that big of a deal.
And here's the thing. I'll get frustrated if I get body bagged, but I'm not frustrated at the player. I'm frustrated because either one, I didn't anticipate it. Yeah. Or two, I had my paddle in a poor spot and I just didn't sit on the counter well enough. And so it's not that I'm frustrated that that person hit me. It's more I'm frustrated at myself for not being able to get that ball back.
Yeah.
Or letting it go out of bounds.
Mhm.
So that's our episode today.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of fun things. You guys let us know if you think that our take on the Nasty Nilsson is correct. Do you think that that makes us bad players to play with, or is it fair game because it's in the rule book?
And mind you this, we're not Nasty Nilsson every point. Like, just so if you think we're like that big a douchebag, we really don't. I don't really Nasty Nilsson, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
One last thing before we end.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris Hayworth. He actually took the #1 seed now.
He did.
He took #1.
I saw that he won today
So
against Fed.
He won against Fed, and he is now ranked #1. So there is the Chris Hayworth era.
Wow.
We had our Fed era. We had our Hunter Johnson era. Well, we had Ben, Fed, Hunter Johnson, and now we're in our Chris. Chris is doing amazing, so shout out Chris. That's
great
super
job.
sick to see. So
Yeah.
now we have someone new to cheer for.
Yeah. Let's leave it on a high note right there. Congratulations, Chris, and then we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.